feeling a little bit messy today. Today, November 12th, would have been my dad's 75th birthday, and sadly he is no longer with us. So rather than freestyle my thoughts about revisiting grief, I'm going to instead read something, a short essay that I wrote yesterday, thinking about my dad and his 75th birthday coming up. Today would have been my dad's 75th birthday. Sadly, he died before reaching his 70th. A couple weeks ago, I decided to go through old journals to continue processing some of the events of my life and to perhaps find inspiration for sharing some thoughts with others. In one of the journals where I thought I'd find entries related to my divorce, the first entry was written the day that I found out my dad died. The next 3 entries were written over the following week. I haven't revisited those early thoughts and feelings for years. I forgot what I did and how I felt. Sure, I know I was sad and confused, but reading those journal entries was like stepping into a time machine. I know it's not healthy to live in the past. In fact, I'm probably too good now at repressing traumatic events. But it was important to see just how at a loss I was, and how, several months later in another entry, I longed to share all of the events and good news that had happened in my life that I could not tell him. One of those pieces of news involved landing my current job, the job that got me back to the US after 7 years abroad. In my reflective grief, I wrote then, "The most bittersweet pill to swallow is that he's the reason I applied to a US-based job, so I could be closer and visit him more amid his chronic health problems. I applied for that job on January 30th because my dad was soon to be released from the Physical Rehabilitation Center after being hospitalized for nearly 2 months. He died 3 days later after I applied for that job. My dad was incredibly proud of my doctorate and research in health-related fields. He would email me interesting science articles he found online and in the health newsletters that he subscribed to. So not only would he have been excited to have me back on the North American continent, he would have been my biggest cheerleader in this new job. I often didn't respond to those scientific emails, and yet they kept coming, until he got sick. I'd give anything to have him send me an article and have a lengthy phone discussion about it. I regret taking his presence and interest in my life for granted. I always thought there'd be more time. When that became less certain, I made plans to spend more time with him while my cheerleader was gone. I suppose only part of my plan was meant to be, that my dad was meant to help me get back to the US, to a great job, and to a new start. For that, I am forever grateful. I am closer to my family and old friends, and have made wonderful new ones. My dad will always be linked to the post-divorce, forward-looking, world is my oyster chapter of my life. While I am happy in this new chapter, it's been a period of growth and self-discovery with more ups and downs during which I've longed for his wise, grounding words. There was no topic off limits, nothing too mundane or esoteric or emotional that he wouldn't discuss. Is there a lesson here? Maybe revisiting past losses and grief can reframe our current situation and remind us of our agency to change our circumstances. Reading my old words in that journal reminded me that nearly 5 years ago, I so longed to be where I am now. I made that happen. I like to think my dad somehow knows and that he is prouder than ever. Revisiting past losses and grief can remind us that we are in a place we never thought we'd be it circumstantially or even just not as in the depths of grief as we were when the loss originally happened. It does not mean that all of the grief and sadness are gone, but we can be grateful for how far we've come. What past loss can you revisit? And is there an aspect of it that you can reframe from a place of gratitude?